Next up, we have our next guest is a retired RN. One of our leaders has created a new group, Women on Wellness, with FSHD, and she is efforting coming in here. Lee clicked her in on Zoom. Oh my gosh, she's like in a planet or something. This is awesome. Look at this. Just rises up. That's amazing.
That's a good way to help me to be less anxious.
Great. Look at that. That was the best entrance I've ever had. There's no question.
So did you give me the background?
No, that's all you. That's all you. I have no control. I'm not that powerful.
Okay.
I say keep it. I love it. I love it.
It's I'm not technologically savvy enough to fix it at this point.
So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience so everyone knows who you are and what we're going to chat about here.
Okay, my name is Ranae Beeker, and I do have FSHD, and I was diagnosed for the first time at the age of 22, and then they did a muscle biopsy. They didn't get the right muscle, and then they said, "Oops, you don't have it. You got polymyositis." So then I was re-diagnosed again at the age of 26, and I stopped working last year.
Yeah.
Because of the disease. Yeah, that's me.
So that is quite a unique diagnosis, FSHD story, as I like to call it. To be wrongfully diagnosed and then later correct. How did that feel emotionally? You know, it feels like a roller coaster.
Oh, it was a roller coaster, but quite honestly, it's really not that uncommon. Many of us have been misdiagnosed more than once. But this was in the 80s, 1982 the first time, and then 1986 the second time. So it was not that uncommon because it wasn't a DNA test. They looked at your symptoms, and then they did an EMG, and then a nerve conduction study called an NCV. And if that looked positive with the symptoms, then they said, "Oh, you got it."
Yeah. So I had the DNA test done, and so yeah, a little different, and that was 6-7 years ago, something like that.
Sure.
For you, do other people in your family have FSHD, or were you the first?
No, unfortunately, it's I'm going to use the word rampant. My mom has it, but if you didn't know she had it, you wouldn't know that she had it. She has a very mild case of it. My grandma also had it. My grandma is one of 3 sisters, and 2 of them had 3 children between them that had muscular dystrophy.
Wow.
So now they were told that it was limb-girdle. So, but that was back in the 50s and 60s. So it's kind of a mystery, but my mom has it. I have 2 children, and unfortunately I've given it to both of them. But we all have our own path. We all look different. We're all affected differently.
So you're a classic example of how different it affects.
Right, the wide variation of the expression of the disease. Yeah. My daughter is 37 and my son is 34. And I'm one of 4 children, and classically 2 of us have it and 2 of us don't.
Wow. That's amazing and crazy all at the same time, how it works and how it affects people differently. And
it really is.
Not at all.
It really is.
So you're recently retired, RN nurse.
Right.
Right. How hard was that to make that adjustment from working to retired?
When it hit me, I make most of my big decisions at 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
So it hit me at 2:00 in the morning as I was dreaming, and I woke up and I thought, okay, how am I going to get all this done? And how am I going to organize this and organize that? So once the decision was made, it was a big relief. but it was difficult because, when you work, you're constantly thinking. I worked in an administrative type of role as a nurse, constantly thinking, constantly reprioritizing. So my brain kind of missed doing that, but my muscles were very happy, very, very happy. My body was happy.
Yeah. So to kind of take that rest, make that transition totally comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know a lot of people deal with that, struggle with it. Even if it's someone that is similar to me, where I have to adjust a job because, okay, I used to do physical work and I have to do less physical work, yet that was always a career shift. And then others, they make that shift into retirement. So it becomes a little more difficult, I guess. What kind of advice would you give to those that are on the fence and not quite sure? Should they wait till 2:00 in the morning to have that epiphany, or,
Well, I think I also prepared for it. And in several of the Facebook pages that are related to FSHD, I do hear a lot of that commonality, that a lot of people understand that it's coming. So you start to prepare for it. So one way I prepared for it is I made sure that I had a new roof on my house. I had the equipment that I needed. So I started working on getting a power chair to make sure that I had that. Made sure that I had an adjustable bed. The chair that I'm sitting in now is for little old ladies, which I like to call myself, because it'll shoot you out of the chair if you have trouble getting out of it. So I just worked on, making sure that I had what I needed while I still had an income. And then I worked on what I was going to do for having an income,
Yeah.
how I was going to be able to manage that. So, we prepare. I was telling actually Heidi Roy, I was talking with her today, and I said, if you have a problem that you really need to have something where you need to be able to be adjustable and what's the word I'm thinking? This is also what happens when you retire. Your brain doesn't work effectively.
Adapt.
You need adapt. Thank you. Yeah, we need to adapt. But I think people with this disease, and maybe you can relate to this and agree with me, we are always adapting. I mean, every day we're adapting. So we're really good at that. So you kind of learn to think, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this maybe next week or next year, and how am I going to do it? How am I going to be able to function? What kind of adaptation do I need to provide or be looking at or researching so that I can do that next stage?
So prepare, plan.
Prepare.
Sounds good.
Right.
I like
Right.
that. Yeah. I know we
And,
are all
and
master adapters at whatever we're adjusting to. There's no question. I guess planning for retirement, being settled and ready to adapt, that's one of those things.
and talk to people. Really talk to people that have been through it, that have worked themselves through it. And there's pitfalls with everything, and find out what the pitfalls were and what their opportunities for learning were, what they were successful in, and what they might have done differently.
Now, you were involved with the wellness hour that's works with FSHD community. Tell us a little
Right.
bit about that and your involvement with that, and then how it kind of curtailed or morphed into Women on Wellness.
Well, first I have to say that I'm really appreciative that the society did that when the pandemic came out. They identified a need to kind of engage people and have people with this disease who are limited with their socialization anyway. So I was very, very excited that they did it. And there were just a couple of ladies that said, there are some kind of topics that we really don't want to be talking about in front of the men. So the topics initially for the wellness hour were excellent. And of course, off the top of my head, I can't think of what they were.
Yeah.
The retired brain again. But so June, God bless her, she said, okay, we can do another hour for just women. And then the ladies within the group came up with it, the title of the group. We call it the WOW. It's the WOW. Women on Wellness. Yeah.
Women on Wellness. I like that.
Yes, it was an excellent idea. Excellent idea. So we've had excellent discussions. It was really good because there were a number of us that offered to help co-lead it. So, and the diversity in our backgrounds is really good. So there's
Yeah.
a very nice mixture of strengths and challenges and disciplines. You know, there's at least one psychologist in the group, if not two. And then I think there's at least a couple of, I know there's at least a couple of nurses that also participate too.
Well, and it must be a nice, safe environment. It must
Oh, it's
feel.
wonderful. It
Yeah.
is wonderful. And Aura, who's one of the psychologists, said, why don't we talk about how we want to regulate the conversation? So we talked about confidentiality. You know, what is said in the room stays in the room. We don't bring up anybody outside of that safe space, which is, I think, very reassuring. And just the fact that somebody thought we really need to do this, and everybody accepted that potential.
Yeah.
And those boundaries. So it is very safe. So the conversations I think we've had three of them. Our fourth one is tomorrow. They're all just very, very well attended. I think we started off with maybe 5 or 7, and I think we had 15 last month. So we're really trying to grow that group.
Absolutely.
Really trying to grow that group. We also identified a need to have like we have a spreadsheet. I love Excel. So we have a spreadsheet that has different, you know, if you found a product on Amazon or Target or wherever, we have the link to that with what it does. We also have a document where you can put suggestions. If you want, there's a topic that you want to talk about, you can put that on there on that suggestion table also. So we you know, trying to make it devise tools that make it easier for folks to participate and hear, you know, topics that they really will find value in.
Right. Now you seem like, you know, you're in groups that have and offer great advice. I'm sure you're one of those people that help those that kind of need to cope. How about the topic of, you know, balancing gratitude and anger? If that
You
makes
know,
sense.
it does make sense. And the longer I have this disease, my good friends will laugh at me when I say that it has really taught me gratitude. This disease has taught me gratitude. I think it's also taught me how to handle anger, although that's still a tough one.
Yeah.
Because we get angry. You know, today I can get out of bed. Yesterday I couldn't get out of bed, but yesterday, when you can't get out of bed, you're angry. You're really angry. But then I'm really happy that my feet hit the floor. And you know, it's 6:40 in the evening, and I didn't fall today. I had several near misses, but I didn't fall today.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed that my son is my caregiver, and he does an excellent job. I have a very, very loving family that's very caring and very helpful and accommodating. So I'm really grateful about all those things. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. The pandemic has also helped that, but I think the disease has really taught me to be very grateful for the little things that I wasn't appreciating decades before.
And with a day like today, Giving Tuesday, we're trying to raise money, the $200,000 match out there. We're trying to implore people to, you know, I say we're competing for the dollars a little bit because, you know, free nonprofit and those things are trying to get people's attention of why they believe they're worthy to get that money. In your own view perspective, you know, how does Giving Tuesday fit in the importance for you of how big of a deal this is to kind of raise these funds?
I think the FSH Society is absolutely wonderful. It's a wonderful organization. And I think it's very important if people are wondering what they should donate to. I think the FSHD, I'm old school. I was way back at the very beginning. The FSHD Society is a very worthwhile cause. This organization is how we know what the cause of the disease is. The Perez family started this back in the 90s and really jumped on the need for research and to collaborate, having that CTRN network, having all of the research scientists all over the world working together to be able to share that information. And that's all because of the FSHD Society. They pushed all of that through. So it's a great organization. This disease was once thought to be one of the rare diseases, which is defined as 1 in 200,000. But because the variation that we talked about earlier, it's not that rare. It's one of the more common muscular dystrophies. So many people have it that you might not be aware of. And it's devastating. It's a chronic, progressive, debilitating, muscle wasting disease. And I think when you use the term muscular dystrophy, it really doesn't describe what it actually does. And many people are not aware of the devastating effects of muscular dystrophy, and ours specifically. But the organization is, and they are working. I love Mark Stone with his, we're going to have a cure and a treatment by 2025. And that has really propelled the research and the need that we need to work on this disease.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Ranae, for spending some time with us and giving us some good words of wisdom if it comes to, retirement and planning, and good advice there, and how to deal with this disease, not just maybe physically, but also sounds like the emotional side of it. I think those that need to know it. I know you said you had another Women on Wellness. The WOW group is meeting again tomorrow. But where can they find maybe more information if need be about that group?
Oh, excellent. It's on the FSHD Society web page. And once you get used to the website, you can find it. But if you're new to it, it might be difficult. So I'd contact June Kinoshita, and her information is right on the front page of that website, June.
Sounds good.
And she can, it's by invitation only, so she has to register you, or she can point you to the registration. But we would love to have more women with this disease participate with that wellness hour. And thank you for everything that you do also, Tim. I know that the radio show is very well received, and it's wonderful. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I love doing it. This is the most amazing community, honestly, I've ever been a part of. It makes me almost, it's kind of sick to say, but I'm almost like, oh, I have the FSHD, but you know what? I wouldn't have met all these people if I didn't have it. So,
absolutely. And we're all in this together.
Right.
We all have to work together.
Thanks, Ranae. You have a great night, and thanks for helping us out here on Giving Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. That is Ranae Beeker. She is the person that gives us the best entrance today. I vote yes to Ranae. That was awesome. She looked like she rose right out of the stars. I love it. And great positive attitude. It is tough to be positive with this disease. There's no question about it. It is not an easy task, considering the difficulties that we all have to deal with, whatever range of the disease you have to deal with, right? Emotionally, physically, etc. And you can help, though. You can help in this cause. We've got that $200,000 match. You can donate with Facebook. They're matching as well. You can go to fshdsociety.org and donate there direct. Our sponsors, always thanking them: Perkin Elmer, Fulcrum Therapeutics, and Dyne Therapeutics.